Do you hear me?
And we are live. Yay! It's a spontaneous pair programming with Ciré. And Ciré, you wanted to ask me how to continue on someone else's pull request, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So let me share my screen and tell you what I'm currently seeing.
Okay.
Okay, so when you want to continue, so Git is a decentralized distributed version control system. And we have several remotes. This repository, which lives here on GitHub, Rundfunk mitbestimmen, would be one remote. Your own machine is also a remote. So if I go to my local copy of it, that is a remote. And those two remotes, they communicate with each other. So when I say git pull, you probably know that, then the master branch will be updated with the remote upstream branch. So this happened right now. There's some new commits from yesterday, I think.
Okay.
And they are now new. All right, so we have two remotes, but there can be more remotes. So there might be forks online. We have about 30 forks. All the people who forked this repository at some point. You also forked this as well.
Yeah, I do.
So this is your fork. It is necessary if you have no write permissions to the original remote, to the original repository. So you fork the repository, and here you have write permissions. You can basically do whatever you want. So I could, for example, add a new remote. So here are all my remotes. And let's say we are now doing this scenario, what you would do if you don't have write permissions. I mean, I just gave write permissions. I just granted write permissions to you. But let's just assume that you don't have write permissions, because it's you cannot assume that
always
you
have the right permission.
Say it again.
You don't always have the right permissions.
Exactly. Just consider a software library of some sort.
Yeah.
Or an NPM package or RubyGem, the repository of it. Usually you have some maintainers, they have write permissions. So I would always call the original remote origin, which is this one here. Yeah?
Okay.
These two here. I think the one is for fetching and this one is for pushing. And I developed a habit of naming the other forks, the other remotes, according to the GitHub name.
The username.
That's basically up to you, but I think this is the least confusing to me. So I would now call your remote Ciré Mosalia.
Yep.
And then I copy that link here. Oh, and I should say add, because I'm adding a remote. So the synopsis is git remote for everything that's, this is a submenu for everything related to remotes. And then you say add, then you give it a name, and then you give it the URL. Okay? Now I have a new remote. Here we go. And then I can, for example, get all the latest commits from your remote with git fetch. Okay, a lot of new branches. If I want to see all my branches, I can say git branch -a. I think this is for all. So these are my local branches here. There you can see the remote branches. And they go like this. You have remotes, then the name of the remote, then the name of the branch. So I have a lot of remote branches for each separate fork remote branches. All right. Does it make sense? Ciré?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Cool. So let's say you wouldn't be able to, let's say you want to work on someone else's pull request. If you want to push the code, to the PR. And this PR is, let me give you an example. If people send pull requests, they can send a pull request from a remote into the origin repository. And then it gets a little bit complicated. So maybe this one. Yes. So here you can see this is coming from a remote. You see the colon is separating the branch from the remote. So Daniel was using his remote. He was working on branch 979, and he wants to merge it from his remote into our remote, the origin remote, right?
Yep.
So in order to work or to continue on this pull request, you would have to add this remote. You would have to go to his username, check out his repositories, look for, there you go, oh, typo. This is his fork. Then copy the URL from here and add this as a remote.
Okay.
Right? And if you want to push to this pull request, basically you have to ask Daniel if he gives you write permissions so you can send a commit to his branch 979.
Okay.
Oh, was it 979 bubble chart colors? Yes, it was bubble chart colors, 979 bubble chart colors. So this branch lives here, and you have to push to this commit. You see, this commit is this branch is 2 commits ahead of the original remote master branch. This is the base branch, you would say, the master branch, and GitHub knows it, so it tells you 2 commits ahead. So you would add more commits to this. You need write permissions to do so. So you have to ask Daniel, can you give me write permissions to your branch? Okay.
Yep.
This is a little bit complicated and it's confusing sometimes. So I'm very permissive in terms of write permissions of the repository. I just trust people. I give everyone who talk to me write permissions to this original repository. Right? I can show you how many people have write permissions. Here's the list of all the people who have write permissions. They are you.
Nice.
You have been granted permissions here. Nice, isn't it? So you can now do all the bad and evil things. You can, I don't know, you can destroy the repository, you can delete it. At least you can delete this upstream repository if you really wanted to, but I'm just trusting you. Right?
Yeah.
You could also deploy, since everything that is on master is deployed automatically to our production server. You could also deploy like malicious code to our production server. That would be possible if you really wanted to. But I'm just trusting that you're not doing this intentionally.
Yeah.
Sometimes people push to master by accident. This can also happen. But if something really is something, if you push something to master that is not ready, which is not finished, then the master is tested on our build server into a break. So here you can see this wasn't deployed because it was broken.
Okay.
But this was deployed.
All right. So, I mean, in this case, for example, if I want to contribute on the Faith's code, I should ask her permission to commit on her branch.
Yeah. So you're lucky because she wasn't working on her fork. Faith has write permissions. So here you can see there's no fork, there's no colon. So she actually
there's no fork,
which is in this remote.
Okay.
Right. So nothing fancy. I explained it to you in like the general approach.
Yeah. The general approach.
And I made things more easy. And I give Faith and I give you write permissions, so you can collaborate with each other more easily.
Directly. Okay.
And because of that, in this case, you have branch from this repository here. So all you have to do is to say git checkout, and then you copy that branch name, and then you're there, right? This is all you have to do.
Okay.
Then you can start committing. I would suggest, since this is quite old, she started to work on it on October the 13th last year. This is a couple of months ago. So the first thing I would do is to merge the current master, right? If you do that, you would say, for example, origin master, merge the latest upstream master branch. Okay, no conflicts. It might happen that if you if there was a long time since this branch was updated, then you run into merge conflicts. But you're lucky; there are no merge conflicts. But I leave that for you. So it says now your branch is ahead of the origin branch by 100 commits, right? So my local branch is ahead of the upstream branch by 100 commits. But I leave that to you. This is your homework. Just merge the master and then push to the upstream branch. All right?
Okay.
Therefore, I'm now resetting my changes. So I'm undoing it now.
Okay.
Get rid of hard. This will also reset the working tree. Okay. Now I'm again back to the state of the upstream branch.
Okay.
But yeah, you can push your changes. Right?
Great.
So yeah, if you after you merged master, you can push, trigger another build. And let's see why the build server was failing. So the last time the build was running, which was quite a long time ago, 2 months ago, the build was failing because build rspec was failing. So our rspecs are failing. There's one failure, which is not too terrible, which is also related to faith changes.
Right.
And this is it. All you have to do is to fix that one little error.
Okay.
And then I would say, what does the maintainer replied on that pull request? So the maintainer, which happens to be myself, on November 14th, the maintainer said, yeah, a little bit about namespacing. That's probably not too important, but this one seems important. So faith setting fail on arrow to false. I don't quite understand why, because this rake task, the whole idea is to use this rake task on our build server. You know what I mean by that?
Yes, I know.
You know? Okay, you talked to Faith already?
Yeah, I was just sending her a message, but we didn't talk about this Discord.
You say it again, please?
Yeah, I mean, I was just sending her a message on DM, but we didn't talk about it, about the code.
Ah, okay.
I was trying to find her a schedule for pairing session with her.
Yeah, so let me check out the master file of Travis. So Travis is the configuration, this .travis YAML file is the configuration file of Travis CI, which you can see here. But I think, yeah, now both are changing. That doesn't make any sense at all. Always, as always, think so. Then I'll close this split screen. Anyways, you see the changes. I'm switching back and forth. Can you see the changes?
No, I didn't.
So look closely here. This is what the build server is doing in order to test if everything is okay.
Okay.
This is after, this is after, this is before. This is after, this is before.
Before deploy.
This is after, this is before. So this is the state on the current master.
Mm-hmm.
And this is with the changes of faith.
Okay.
So you can see that she is using for both the backend and the top level folder, she's using these rake tasks, right? And this looks a little bit more clean than this one here. Also, you know what's going on. So first we run the Rubocops, then we run Brakeman, then we run RARspec, then we run Rubocop in the top level folder, and we run the features. That's the full stack tests. And finally, we run the seeds. Whereas in this here, the rake task, the default rake task is doing many things at a time, including RSpec. Here we have Brakeman, which is not run inside of a rake task, and so on. So if any of those commands exit with a non-zero exit code, do you know what that is, Ciré? Ciré? Are you still with me? Ciré?
Yes, I'm having some network problem. Connection is
Yeah, no problem.
very
So
bad.
do you know what a non-zero code is with command line apps?
Sorry, repeat, please.
Do you know what a non-zero exit code means?
No, I don't.
Oh, I had a typo. I mean non-zero exit code. So that's no problem if you go to the internet, look for non-zero exit code, command line, or maybe Unix. So Unix is the family of operating systems and relates to the exit code of a program that you run. So every program can have an exit code. You run a program and it has an exit code. And the exit code 0 means everything was okay, I exited normally. Everything which has not a zero code, an exit code of 0 is an unexpected behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So here you can see non-zero isn't. Oh, okay. Non-zero isn't always an error. Test and if. Okay. So all I know is that 0 is it's okay, and non-zero means anything else. And the behavior of Travis is if any of these commands have a non-zero code, here you can see bundle exec rake build rspec exited with 1.
With 1.
It will fail, exactly. And that's what we want in this case, because we want the build server to fail if there are some failures in the rspec tests.
Okay.
So this here, fail on error of false, probably means abort on failures, fix your code first. Okay, just double check if this works as expected.
Okay.
So I'm always doing something like this. You have, for example, fail, and on let's say what shell are you using? Are you using Bash or are you using
ZSH?
ZSH is a POSIX compatible. Or do I have ZSH? No, I'm using Fish. It behaves differently. But let's use bash, because bash and ZSH are more similar to each other. You have fail. No, you don't have fail. Okay, but you have, I don't know, echo, for example. Echo, hello, Ciré. You're spelled with an accent aigu, right?
Yes.
This one here. Okay, cool. So this will type hello Ciré, and it has an exit code of 0. That is, if I say an ampersand, which means continue if this command was running successfully, then continue on with the next one. Then you can say I had an exit code of 0. So you can see hello Ciré, I had an exit code of 0, which is perfect. And now I'm looking for anything bash non-zero exit code. Bash how to exit with non-zero code. Yes, it's false. It's just false. Okay, if I type in false, nothing happens. Why? The false is exiting with a non-zero exit. But why don't we see anything here? Ciré.
Sorry?
When I say echo hello Ciré and echo I had an exit code of 0, I see both outputs. Now, false always exits with a non-zero exit code, and we see nothing. Why?
I think here it's not showing anything because of the first instructions is false, is not exiting with a 0 code. That's why the second code is not run.
Yeah, exactly. So the second call here is not executed because this one is not executing. It's not exiting with a 0 with an exit code of 0. Exactly. So yes. In order to test your script, you can say bundle exec rake whatever, and then say ampersand and say non-zero exit code. Right? So if rake whatever executes successfully, then you want to see non-zero code. If it was not successful, you don't want to see that.
Yes.
Okay, does it make sense to you?
Yes.
Right? So this is why my way of testing if a program is exiting as expected, right? It should exit with a 0 code when everything was okay, but it should not exit. Oh man, I'm having a knot in my tongue. It should not exit with a 0 code if a test was failing. Okay. All right. Because then our build server will fail silently, and that's not what we want. Right? Then you would see the command exec rake blah 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 exit with it failed, and it would be still green. Do you understand what I say, Ciré?
Sorry.
Do you get what I say? Is everything okay? Like, am I too fast with explaining?
Sorry, the internet.
Yeah, I think the internet connection is pretty bad.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No problem. You can always check out the video. I was just trying to explain how to test the exit code of command line applications. In our case, we want to ensure that our rake task exits with a non-zero code in case there are some errors, right? Because otherwise we are in danger to accidentally push breaking code into our master branch. Does that make sense? Ciré. Ciré? I'll also text that into our Slack channel. Here you go. I hope you can still hear me. All right, so actually this is also everything I wanted to explain. So just make sure that everything works like battle-proof. And I don't know what this is actually doing, but this looks kind of dangerous. And I just want you to double check it. All right.
Yes, I will.
Do you have more questions, Ciré? Did I explain it, or was it easy to understand except for the network problems? Ciré, do you know what I mean? Like, did you understand what I was trying to explain? Do you have more questions?
Yeah, I do. I get almost the first part was good about the Git, how to clone.
Yeah, the first part is also more
how to have everything locally.
Exactly. The first part is more,
yeah, I will.
the first part is more important because it applies to GitHub and Git in general. The latter part is related to this specific pull request.
No problem.
Everything is recorded, so don't worry too much about the network. All right, Ciré, unless you have any more questions, I would say let's stop the broadcasting. Is that okay? Yes, exactly. You can always come back to the Slack channel. Right. All good?
Yes.
Excellent. Now I will stop the recording. Cool. It was a pleasure. Feel free to come back to me anytime. Bye. Goodbye, Ciré.
Sorry for the network problem.
No problem. Goodbye.
Yes. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.